The doorbell camera footage showed my wife sneaking back into our house at 2:47 a.m., her hair messed up and her designer dress wrinkled like she'd been wrestling with someone who clearly wasn't me. I'd been asleep for hours, dreaming about anything except the woman who'd promised to love me for the rest of our lives, but apparently found a loophole involving her real estate career and a man named Barrett Cole. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Harlan Pierce, and I'm 47 years old. I run a commercial drone operation business that's made me more money than my wife Liora ever expected when she married the blue-collar tech guy 15 years ago. Back then, she thought drones were toys. Now my company handles security footage, construction site monitoring, and insurance assessments for half the city. The irony wasn't lost on me that the same technology making me wealthy was about to destroy my marriage. I sat in my home office at 6 in the morning, rewinding the footage for the 5th time. Liora had told me she was showing a luxury property to an overseas investor who could only meet late at night due to time zones. The lie was so smooth I almost believed it myself. Almost. "Dad, you're up early." My 13-year-old son Stan appeared in the doorway, already dressed for school. The kid was sharp as a tack and missed nothing. He'd inherited my observational skills and his mother's ability to read people. A dangerous combination. "Couldn't sleep?" I said, minimizing the video window. "Your mom's still sleeping. She had a late showing last night." Stan nodded, but his eyes lingered on my computer screen. "The Chen property on Maple Street?" I blinked. "How did you know about that?" "Mom's been talking about it for weeks. Big commission if she lands it. She said the buyer's from Hong Kong, which would make it like 3 in the afternoon there when she left last night." Stan grabbed an apple from the bowl on my desk. "Weird time for a business meeting, right?" My son was 13 and already calling out his mother's lies with casual precision. I felt proud and sick at the same time. "Yeah, weird," I agreed. "You better get ready for school." After Stan left, I pulled up the family's shared location app on my phone. We'd all agreed to use it for safety, but now I was using it for surveillance. Liora's phone showed she'd been at the Meridian Towers downtown last night, not the Chen property. The Meridian was where Barrett Cole lived in a penthouse that cost more per month than most people made in a year. Barrett Cole, former college football player turned real estate developer. The kind of guy who wore $1,000 suits and drove cars that cost more than my house. He'd been circling my wife like a shark for months, always finding reasons to collaborate on business deals. I'd met him twice at industry events, and both times he'd looked at me like I was something stuck to his shoe. My phone buzzed. A text from Liora. "Showing houses all day, don't wait up tonight either, love you." Love you. 2 words that used to mean everything and now felt like a slap across the face. I opened my laptop and started doing what I do best, gathering information. Barrett Cole's social media was a shrine to his own ego. Pictures of expensive dinners, luxury cars, and business meetings in high-end restaurants. What caught my attention was a photo from 3 days ago. Barrett at Morton's Steakhouse with a woman whose back was to the camera. The woman was wearing the same blue dress Liora had worn to dinner with clients that night. My hands were shaking as I screenshotted the image and enhanced it with photo editing software. The reflection in the restaurant's window was faint, but unmistakable. Liora's face, laughing at something Barrett was saying, her hand reaching across the table to touch his. I'd seen enough evidence to know my marriage was over, but I needed more if I was going to survive the divorce with anything left. Liora was smart, connected, and ruthless when it came to money. She'd try to take everything, including Stan, if she thought it would hurt me or help her financially. My phone rang. Simon Archer, my best friend since college and the only ex-cop I trusted completely. "Harlan, you sound like hell," Simon said without preamble. "What's wrong?" "I need your help," I said. "Professional help." "What kind of professional help?" "The kind that involves surveillance, evidence gathering, and making sure I don't do anything stupid enough to land me in jail." Simon was quiet for a moment. "Your wife?" "My wife." "I'll be there in an hour. Don't do anything until I get there." Simon arrived with coffee and the kind of grim expression he used to wear when delivering bad news to families. He was 48, built like the linebacker he'd been in college, and had the patience of a saint when it came to talking people out of stupid decisions. "Show me what you've got," he said, settling into the chair across from my desk. I walked him through everything. The doorbell footage, the location data, the restaurant photo, and 3 months' worth of suspicious behavior that suddenly made sense. Late-night client calls, new expensive clothes she claimed were gifts from grateful buyers, and the way she'd started flinching when I tried to kiss her. Barrett Cole, Simon said, studying the enhanced restaurant photo. I know that name. He's connected to some sketchy development deals downtown. Nothing illegal that anyone can prove, but he cuts corners and screws over subcontractors. You think he's screwing over my wife, too? Guys like Barrett don't leave their wives for their mistresses, Harlan. They keep their mistresses until they get bored or until it becomes inconvenient. Simon leaned back in his chair. The question is what you want to do about it. I want to destroy him. I want to destroy both of them. Legally, Simon added, because I'm not helping you with anything that involves me losing my private investigator's license or you going to prison. I nodded. Legally, Simon pulled out a notebook. First, we secure your assets. You move money, change passwords, and document everything. Second, we gather more evidence. Third, we wait for them to make a mistake that gives us maximum leverage. What kind of mistake? The kind where they get sloppy because they think you're clueless. Simon grinned. Trust me, cheaters always get sloppy. We spent the next 2 hours moving my money into accounts Liora couldn't access, changing passwords on everything from our streaming services to our investment portfolios, and setting up surveillance on her daily routine. By noon, I'd effectively cut off her access to our joint finances without technically doing anything illegal. My phone buzzed with a text from Liora. Credit card declined at lunch. Can you call the bank? I texted back. At work. You handle it. 3 minutes later. All our cards are declining. What's going on? Bank must be having system issues. I'll look into it tonight. I wasn't lying exactly. There were system issues. I was the system, and I was having issues with my wife screwing around behind my back. Simon was monitoring Liora's location through the family app while setting up additional surveillance. She's at Barrett's office building, he said. Want to bet she's not there for business? No bet. My phone rang. Kendra Holt, Liora's best friend and biggest enabler. Kendra was the kind of woman who thrived on drama and gossip, which made her dangerous but also potentially useful. Harlan, honey, is everything okay? Liora called me crying about credit card problems. Just a banking issue, Kendra. Nothing to worry about. Oh, good. She was so upset. She's at Barrett's office trying to use his assistant's computer to check your accounts online. Kendra paused. I told her that seemed a little inappropriate, but you know how Liora gets when she's stressed. Interesting. Kendra was feeding me information, which meant she either suspected something or knew more than she was letting on. Thanks for letting me know, Kendra. I'll get it sorted out. After I hung up, Simon raised an eyebrow. The best friend is talking. The question is why. Maybe she's not as good a friend as your wife thinks. At 3 o'clock, Stan texted me from school. Mom picked me up early. Says we're going shopping for new clothes. Thought you should know. Shopping with what money? I checked our accounts. Liora had tried to use our credit cards 17 times in the past hour, all declined. She'd also attempted to access our savings account online 6 times from Barrett's IP address. My phone rang again. This time it was Liora, and she sounded furious. Harlan, what the hell is going on with our money? What do you mean? Don't play dumb. Every card is maxed out or frozen, I can't access our savings, and the bank says you've put security holds on everything. I haven't done anything, Liora. Maybe there's been some kind of fraud alert. Fraud alert? The only fraud here is you pretending to be concerned about our finances while you're obviously trying to control me. The accusation was so perfectly backward that I almost laughed. Control you? I'm at work trying to run a business while you're apparently at Barrett Cole's office using his computer to hack into our bank accounts. Silence. Then, how did you know I was at Barrett's office? Lucky guess. More silence. I could practically hear her brain working, trying to figure out how much I knew and how much trouble she was in. We need to talk tonight, she said finally. Looking forward to it. Liora came home at 7:30 with shopping bags from stores she couldn't have afforded with frozen credit cards. Stan was with her, looking uncomfortable and carrying a bag from GameStop. How was shopping? I asked, not looking up from my laptop. Barrett was kind enough to help when our cards weren't working, Liora said. He said it was probably identity theft and offered to pay until we get it sorted out. That was generous of him. He's a generous man. Stan caught my eye and rolled his own. Even my 13-year-old son could see through his mother's lies. Stan, go start your homework, Liora said. Your father and I need to talk. After Stan left, Liora sat down across from me with the expression she used when she was about to deliver bad news to a client. Professional, controlled, and completely fake. Harlan, I think we need to discuss our marriage. What about it? We're not happy. We haven't been happy for a long time. Speak for yourself. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Liora folded her hands in her lap. We want different things. You want to stay in this house, in this neighborhood, running your little drone business. I want more. More what? More everything. More excitement, more culture, more sophistication, more life. More Barrett Cole? Her composure cracked for just a second. What? I turned my laptop around, showing her the enhanced restaurant photo. More Barrett Cole. That's what you want, right? Liora stared at the screen, her face cycling through surprise, anger, and calculation. You've been spying on me. I've been paying attention. There's a difference. How long have you known? Long enough to move our money somewhere safe. Now she looked genuinely frightened. You can't do that. Half of everything is mine. Half of everything will be yours. After the divorce, after we go through lawyers and judges and financial disclosure and all the other fun stuff that happens when marriages end. I closed the laptop. But until then, I'm protecting our assets from someone who's obviously making poor financial decisions. What do you want? I want you to admit what you've been doing. And then what? And then we'll see. Liora stood up, smoothing down her skirt. I've been having an affair with Barrett Cole for 4 months. He understands me in ways you never have. He appreciates culture, art, fine dining. He knows how to treat a woman like a lady instead of a business partner. Feel better? Actually, yes. Good, because that confession is going to make the divorce proceedings much simpler. Her eyes narrowed. What do you mean? I pulled out my phone, showing her the recording app that had been running for the past 10 minutes. I mean, your admission of adultery just saved me about $50,000 in legal fees. For the first time since I'd known her, Liora looked genuinely scared. You bastard. I'm the bastard? I'm not the one who's been lying for 4 months. You don't understand. Barrett and I, it's not just physical. We're in love. Congratulations. I hope you'll be very happy together in whatever apartment you can afford on a real estate agent's salary. Leora's face went white. You wouldn't. Try me. She stormed out of the room, and I heard her on the phone in the kitchen, talking in urgent whispers, probably calling Barrett, probably panicking about money and lawyers and the reality of what she'd just confessed to. My phone buzzed with a text from Simon. How did it go? I texted back. She confessed everything. I recorded it. Smart man. What's next? Now we wait for them to do something stupid. I didn't have to wait long. The next morning, I woke up to find Liora gone and a note on the kitchen counter. Staying at Kendra's until we figure this out. Don't try to contact me. Stan was eating cereal and reading the note with obvious disgust. She didn't even say goodbye to me. I'm sorry, buddy. It's not your fault, Dad. Mom's been acting weird for months. I figured she was having some kind of midlife crisis, but I didn't think she was cheating. My son was taking his mother's affair better than I was, which said something about both of us. Are you going to be okay with all this? I asked. Are you going to let her take half your business? Not if I can help it. Then I'm okay. At 10 o'clock, Simon called with news. Your wife and Barrett Cole just walked into Morrison, Klein & Associates. That's the most expensive divorce law firm in the city. How do you know? Because I'm sitting in the coffee shop across the street watching them through the window. Barrett's holding her hand and carrying a briefcase that probably contains financial documents. What kind of financial documents? The kind that suggests they've been planning this for longer than 4 months. I felt sick. You think this whole thing was a setup? I think your wife is smarter than either of us gave her credit for, and I think Barrett Cole is the kind of guy who doesn't make moves without calculating the profit margin. What do? You get down here with every piece of financial documentation you own, and we go see David Morrison before they finish their meeting. David Morrison was the best divorce attorney in the state, which meant he was also the most expensive. His office looked like a museum, all dark wood and leather furniture and law books that probably cost more than most people's cars. Mr. Pierce, Morrison said, shaking my hand. Simon told me you might need my services. My wife is upstairs right now trying to hire you to destroy me in our divorce. Morrison smiled. I'm aware. I declined to represent her due to a conflict of interest. What conflict of interest? The one that just walked into my office. Morrison gestured to a chair. Simon called me this morning and retained my services on your behalf. Your wife can find another attorney. We spent 2 hours going through my finances, the evidence of Leora's affair, and the recording of her confession. Morrison took notes and asked pointed questions about Barrett Cole's involvement. This Barrett Cole, Morrison said, Simon tells me he's got a reputation for acquiring distressed properties through questionable means. What does that have to do with my divorce? Everything, if your wife was feeding him information about your business and finances. Morrison leaned back in his chair. Think about it. She has access to your accounts, your client list, your contracts. What if this affair wasn't just personal? The possibility hit me like a punch to the stomach. Barrett Cole was a developer who relied on inside information to acquire properties before they hit the market. My drone business gave me access to construction sites, property assessments, and development plans all over the city. You think she was spying on me for him? I think we should find out. Simon was already on his phone, calling contacts at various city departments. Within an hour, we had a list of properties Barrett had acquired in the past 6 months, cross-referenced with sites my company had surveyed. The overlap was damning. Barrett had purchased or optioned 12 properties within 2 weeks of my company completing surveys that revealed structural problems, zoning issues, or development potential that wasn't public knowledge. Snake, I said, staring at the list. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was stealing from me. Morrison nodded. Industrial espionage. Corporate theft. Breach of fiduciary duty. This just became a much bigger case than simple adultery. What do? We build a case that destroys both of them. That evening, Kendra called me. She sounded nervous. Harlan, honey, I think there's something you should know about Liora and Barrett. What's that, Kendra? They're not just having an affair. They're planning to start a business together. Some kind of development company that combines her real estate connections with his financing. Using what capital? Well, that's the thing. Liora seems to think she's going to get half of your business in the divorce, plus alimony, plus the house. She's already talking about selling everything and investing it in Barrett's projects. I thanked Kendra and hung up, then called Simon. They're planning to liquidate everything I own and use it to capitalize Barrett's business. Not if we stop them first. How? By making sure Barrett Cole has bigger problems to worry about than your wife's divorce settlement. The next morning, Simon and I met with Detective Ray Fuller, Simon's former partner who now worked white-collar crime. Ray was 53, built like a fire hydrant, and had the kind of suspicious mind that made him very good at his job. Industrial espionage, Ray said, reviewing our evidence. Corporate theft, possible securities fraud if Barrett used insider information to manipulate property values. Can you build a case? Simon asked. I can build a case, but it'll take time, months, maybe longer. Ray looked at me. How long do you have before your wife cleans you out? Not months. Then you need to make them stop what they're doing voluntarily. How do I do that? Ray smiled. By making their business relationship too expensive to continue. We spent the afternoon planning what Ray called aggressive legal pressure. Morrison would file injunctions to freeze Liora's access to any marital assets. The district attorney's office would open an investigation into Barrett's property acquisitions. The state real estate commission would review Liora's license for ethics violations. But I wanted more than legal pressure. I wanted them to feel the same humiliation and betrayal they'd put me through. I want to destroy Barrett Cole's reputation, I told Simon. I want everyone in the city to know what kind of man he is. What did you have in mind? I explained my plan. Simon listened, asked questions, and finally nodded. It's risky. So is letting them steal everything I've worked for. It's also completely legal. That's the best kind of revenge. That evening, I put my plan into motion. Using my drone business's social media accounts, I posted a series of client testimonials that were completely true but devastatingly damaging to Barrett's reputation. The first post featured before and after photos of a property Barrett had developed, showing how his cost-cutting measures had resulted in foundation problems that cost the buyers $60,000 to repair. The second post showed aerial footage of a Barrett Cole construction site where workers were dumping construction waste into a protected wetland area. The third post was a time-lapse video of Barrett's crew working on a luxury development, showing them using substandard materials and cutting corners on safety protocols. Each post was carefully worded to avoid defamation while making it clear that Barrett Cole was the kind of developer who prioritized profits over quality or ethics. Within hours, the posts were being shared across every local Facebook group, neighborhood association, and business network in the city. Barrett's phone was probably ringing nonstop with angry buyers, canceled contracts, and reporters asking for comment. My phone rang at 9 o'clock, Barrett Cole, and he sounded furious. You snake. You're trying to destroy my business. I'm sharing factual information about your work quality. If that destroys your business, maybe you should consider improving your work quality. This is about Liora. This is about you stealing proprietary information from my company to gain unfair advantage in property acquisitions. Liora just happened to be your source. Prove it. I don't have to prove it. The district attorney's office is handling that part. Silence. Then, what do you want? I want you to stay away from my wife, my son, and my business. I want you to return any information Liora gave you about my clients or operations. And I want you to understand that if you continue this relationship, I will make sure everyone in this city knows exactly what kind of man you are. Are you threatening me? I'm educating you about the consequences of your choices. Barrett hung up. 10 minutes later, Liora called. Harlan, you have to stop this. Barrett's business partners are furious. They're talking about dropping him from projects worth millions of dollars. Maybe Barrett should have thought about that before he decided to steal from me. He didn't steal anything. He used information you gave him about my client sites to make property acquisitions. That's industrial espionage, Liora. It's a felony. I never gave him any information about your business. Then you won't mind if the FBI examines your phone records, email accounts, and text messages. Another long silence. What do you want? I want you to come home, pack your things, and move out. I want you to sign a separation agreement that protects my business and gives me primary custody of Stan. And I want you to stay away from Barrett Cole until our divorce is final. And if I don't, then Barrett goes to prison for corporate espionage, you lose your real estate license for ethics violations, and you get nothing in the divorce except whatever you can earn working retail. You bastard. I'm the bastard who's going to survive this. Can you say the same? Liora came home the next evening with 2 suitcases and the kind of defeated expression I'd never seen on her face before. Stan was at Simon's house for the night, giving us privacy to handle the final confrontation. Barrett ended it, she said without preamble. His business partners gave him an ultimatum: drop the relationship or lose his financing for 3 major projects. Smart business partners. He chose the projects. Smart man. Liora sat down on the couch where we'd spent 15 years watching movies, planning vacations, and pretending to be happy. I've lost everything, haven't I? You lost everything when you decided to betray your family for a man who was using you to steal from me. I thought he loved me. Barrett Cole doesn't love anyone except Barrett Cole. If you'd bothered to do any research instead of just falling for his act, you would have discovered that you're the 3rd married woman he's had an affair with in the past 5 years. She looked genuinely shocked. What? Kendra told me. Apparently Barrett has a pattern of seducing married women who have access to useful business information. You weren't special, Liora. You were just convenient. Kendra knew? Kendra's known for months. She's been feeding me information about your affair because she was hoping I'd put a stop to it before you destroyed your life. She was protecting me? She was protecting Stan, and me, because despite what you think, some people actually care about this family. Liora started crying, which was something I'd seen maybe 5 times in 15 years of marriage. I've ruined everything. Yes, you have. Can we fix it? I looked at my wife, really looked at her, and tried to find some remnant of the woman I'd fallen in love with. She was still beautiful, still intelligent, still capable of being charming when she wanted something. But the person sitting on my couch was a stranger who'd been willing to destroy her family for a man who'd thrown her away the moment she became inconvenient. No, I said. We can't fix it. What happens now? I handed her the separation agreement Morrison had prepared. You sign this. You move out. We get divorced as quietly and quickly as possible. You get a fair settlement that doesn't include my business or primary custody of Stan. And if I don't sign, then we go to court, and a judge decides how much sympathy to show a woman who committed adultery and corporate espionage. Liora read through the agreement, her face growing paler with each page. This is barely anything. It's more than you deserve. I gave you 15 years of my life. And I gave you 15 years of mine. The difference is I wasn't planning to steal everything you'd worked for and run off with someone else. She signed the papers with shaking hands, her signature looking nothing like the confident flourish she usually used. Where will you go? I asked. Kendra said I can stay with her until I find an apartment. What about work? The Real Estate Commission suspended my license pending their investigation. Morrison says if I cooperate with the district attorney's office, they might not file criminal charges. Smart choice. Liora stood up, picking up her suitcases. I'm sorry, Harlan, for all of it. I know you are, but sorry doesn't fix anything. She walked toward the door, then stopped. Will you tell Stan I love him? You can tell him yourself. You're still his mother. Will he forgive me? Ask him in a few years. After she left, I sat in my empty house and felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Peace. My phone buzzed with a text from Stan. Is it over? I texted back. It's over. Good. Can I come home now? Come home. 6 months later, Barrett Cole's development company filed for bankruptcy after 3 major projects fell through due to reputation concerns from investors. The district attorney's office declined to file criminal charges in exchange for his cooperation in their ongoing investigation of corrupt business practices in the local real estate market. Liora found work as a sales associate at a furniture store and moved into a 1-bedroom apartment across town. She saw Stan every other weekend and called him twice a week. They were slowly rebuilding their relationship, which was more than she deserved, but exactly what Stan needed. My drone business expanded into corporate security consulting, partly because my reputation for exposing corrupt practices had made me the go-to guy for companies that wanted to make sure their partners were legitimate. Kendra became an unlikely friend, stopping by once a week to check on Stan and me. She never explained why she'd helped me instead of her best friend, but I suspected it had something to do with her own history with Barrett Cole. Stan started high school and joined the robotics club, where his natural talent for technology and his hard-earned understanding of human nature made him a natural leader. And me? I learned that revenge is most satisfying when it's legal, logical, and leaves you with a clear conscience. Barrett Cole and Liora had tried to steal my life's work and destroy my family. Instead, they'd destroyed themselves and left me with everything that actually mattered: my son, my business, and my integrity. Some nights, I still wake up angry about the betrayal and the months of lies. But most nights, I sleep peacefully in my own house, knowing that the people who tried to destroy me had ultimately destroyed only themselves. Justice isn't always swift, but when it finally arrives, it's worth the wait.